Have you ever walked into a place where your worth was measured by your uniform? Where people talk over you as if you're invisible, assuming you have nothing valuable to offer? Kwame Owusu had everything: wealth, education, a future laid out before him. But when he returned home to his father's empire, he traded his suit for a janitor's jumpsuit. Why? To uncover the rot festering beneath the surface: corruption, greed, and injustice. They thought he was just another cleaner. They had no idea he was about to change everything. The towering glass building of Owusu Enterprises stood as a testament to the hard work and vision of its founder, Maxwell Owusu. For decades, it had been a beacon of excellence, but beneath its polished exterior, corruption and favoritism festered. Kwame Owusu, the heir to this empire, had spent the last few years abroad, earning his PhD in business administration. But when news of his father's deteriorating health reached him, he returned home, only to find his father's legacy under threat. The whispers of embezzlement, mismanagement, and prejudice had reached his ears even from across the ocean. He knew there was only one way to get to the truth. Instead of stepping into the executive suite, he assumed the identity of a janitor, blending into the background of a company that should have welcomed him with open arms. Dressed in a faded blue jumpsuit and carrying a mop, Kwame walked through the hallways where his father had once been revered, but now he saw the cracks in the system firsthand. On his first day, he quickly learned how those at the top treated those at the bottom. Supervisors barely acknowledged his presence, managers dismissed him, and even security guards looked down on him. He was no longer the young, privileged heir. He was just another worker. He endured condescending remarks and humiliation from staff who believed he was beneath them. One senior executive, Mr. Appiah, deliberately knocked over a cup of coffee in front of him, sneering as he ordered Kwame to clean it up immediately. Another time, a group of junior employees mocked him, questioning why an educated young man would stoop so low to be a janitor. The head of maintenance, unaware of Kwame's true identity, docked his pay over minor infractions, such as taking too long to clean an office space, while others in the same role faced no such scrutiny. One evening, as he cleaned a boardroom, he overheard a group of executives laughing about how easy it was to manipulate the company's finances. They spoke of ghost contracts, inflated expenses, and their plan to force his father into early retirement to install a puppet CEO. Kwame clenched his fists but remained silent. He needed more proof. Days turned into weeks. Kwame saw the daily struggles of employees who were dedicated but unappreciated. One such employee was Mr. Aji, a middle manager who had been passed over for promotions despite years of service. Over late-night conversations in the janitor's closet, Aji revealed the depth of corruption in the company. Kwame listened, took notes, and devised a plan. One of the most heartbreaking encounters was with Linda, a single mother who had worked tirelessly for years in the administrative department. She often stayed late to finish reports, while higher-ups took credit for her work. When she requested a raise to support her child's medical bills, Mrs. Darko coldly dismissed her, stating, "Maybe if you spent less time whining and more time working, you'd be worth a raise." The next day, Linda was fired without explanation. Kwame watched as she left the building in tears, clutching a box of her belongings, her future uncertain. Another time, he witnessed a security guard, old and frail, being ridiculed for asking for an extension on his paycheck to buy medicine for his sick wife. The same executives who stole from the company laughed in his face, offering him pennies from their pockets as if he were a beggar. Kwame's blood boiled, but he forced himself to stay silent. He also witnessed the blatant prejudice within the firm. Promotions were given based on favoritism, not merit. The HR manager, Mrs. Darko, had an iron grip on hiring and firing, ensuring only those who played by her rules survived. The culture of fear and oppression was suffocating. When she cruelly dismissed another hardworking employee for questioning an unfair policy, Kwame knew he couldn't stay silent much longer. The moment of reckoning arrived. The board had scheduled an emergency meeting to declare Maxwell Owusu unfit to run the company. They would announce a new CEO, one of their own, who would continue the cycle of corruption. As the meeting commenced, Kwame entered the room in his janitor's uniform, pushing a cleaning cart. The executives barely noticed him, too consumed with their own schemes. Then he spoke. "My name is Kwame Owusu," he declared, his voice firm, "and I am my father's son." Gasps filled the room. Some executives rose in shock, others in anger. But before they could react, Kwame presented the evidence he had gathered. The hidden accounts, the ghost contracts, the discrimination, all laid bare. Some tried to deny it. Others begged for mercy, but the truth was undeniable. With the board in turmoil, Kwame took his rightful place at the head of the table. His first order of business was to fire those responsible for the company's decline. Mrs. Darko was escorted out, the corrupt executives were dismissed, and new policies were put in place to ensure fairness and accountability. The first call Kwame made was to Linda, offering her not only her job back, but a well-deserved promotion. He ensured the security guard's wife received medical support from the company's insurance. As the company embraced its rebirth, Kwame made a promise to never let power blind him. He had walked the halls as a janitor, seen the struggles of the workers, and understood the importance of leadership with integrity. One day, as he sat in his father's office, an elderly janitor passed by. Kwame stood, walked over, and greeted him warmly by name. No one in his company would ever be invisible again.